All right, good afternoon, everyone. We're calling to order the August 8th meeting of the Fishers Plat Committee. Please stand and join me for our Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
All right, Secretary, please call the roll.
Ms. Stoller, Mr. Mackey,
Here.
Mr. Hillary.
Here.
All right, next item is the approval of the previous minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the August 7th, 2024 minutes as presented.
Do I have a second? I'll second. And all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, our first public hearing for today is the Delaware Park Block C2. This is the request to approve the primary plat of 3 lots on 8.7 acres. Site is located on southeast corner of Kincaid and Sunlight Drive, and the address is 8545 Sunlight Drive.
Good afternoon. Christy Cashin, Senior Planner with the City Planning Department. This primary plat request for the property is for the property located at the southeast corner of Kincaid and Sunlight Drive, address 8545 Sunlight Drive. This property is surrounded by commercial and office uses, with the property directly west being vacant. The subject property is zoned Delaware Park PUD and within the I-69 overlay. The future land use for this property is employment node per the Fishers 2040 comprehensive plan. The applicant is requesting to split this 8.7 acre lot into 3 lots, lots 2, 3, and 4, shown here. Access will be provided to lots 3 and 4 off Kincaid Drive via a shared access point. Lot 2 will have access via a shared access point with Lot 1 along Sunlight Drive, and also the petitioner has proposed an additional access point along Sunlight Drive for potential future development. Pedestrian access will be constructed along Kincaid and Sunlight Drive as the properties are developed. And staff has discussed, Staff has discussed with developers the possibility of lots 2 becoming a car condo facility and lot 3 becoming a daycare. This plat is in line with the objectives of the Fishers Unified Development Ordinance and aligns with the future land use plan. Staff recommends approval of plat PP-24-6 with the standard condition to record. The applicant, Steve Mattingly, and I are available for any questions if you have any.
Steve, is there anything you'd like to add? Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Okay. Christy said this is in a PUD, correct?
Correct.
So architecture and site plan would be approved at the PUD committee?
Correct.
Okay. I don't have any further questions.
One question I had is the access for lot 3 and 4. This is a shared access. Is that location a set location for that drive, or could that be adjusted if it deems the traffic study that it needs it to be moved maybe to the south a little bit? Is that something that is going to impact any of those 2 developments?
It could possibly. The intent was to have it on the property line.
Okay. And I believe there is space on Kincaid Drive for a left turn lane if it needs be for that access point. Okay. I don't have any more questions. I guess for the time now, we will open this for a public hearing. If you have any comments, please state your name and address for the record and make your comment. We will note your comments and questions, and we'll answer those questions after the conclusion of the public hearing. Seeing that there is no one coming forward, I am going to close the public hearing. I'll look to the staff if there's any more comments.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented, item PP 24-6, Delaware Park, Block C3.
I'll second that motion. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Hillary,
Yes.
Mr. Mackey,
Yes. Motion is passed.
Thanks, Steve.
We do have an update to the agenda. We will hear item C, the GBW and Geist Shops vacation second, and then the GBW and Geist Shops plat third. So for this item, the GBW and Geist Shops, this is a request to vacate Lot 2 of the Geist Shops subdivision. The subject site is generally located near the intersection of Oleo and East 104th Street. Common address is 10408 Oleo Road.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Gabrielle Heron, and I'm a senior planner. So this item before you today is Vacation 24-6, which is a plat vacation request for the proposed lot transfer from the Geist Shop subdivision to the GBW Fishers subdivision. This property is located near 104th Street and Oleo Road and is specifically located near the northeast corner of the intersection of 104th Street and Oleo Road. The subject site is Zone C2, Neighborhood Business District, under the Unified Development Ordinance. Adjacent properties to the west and south are zoned R2, PUD-M, Residential and School. Adjacent properties to the north are zoned C2, Commercial. Adjacent properties to the east are zoned R2 and R3, Residential. The applicant is requesting to vacate the existing Lot 2 from the Geist Shop subdivision so that it can be transferred to the GBW Fisher subdivision. The petitioner is vacating Lot 2 so that 10404 Oleo Road can be replatted into 2 lots, and a portion of the Lot 2, or which is addressed 10408 Oleo Road, can be added to the new parcel, Lot 3. So this subdivision will include 3 lots, 1, 2, and 3. These lots remain commercial. This vacation is in line with the objectives of the Fishers Unified Development Ordinance. This parcel is zoned C2 and aligns with the future land use plan. Staff recommends approval of plat vacation 24-6 as it meets all local and state requirements. A public hearing is required. Staff is available to answer any questions along with the petitioner, Nathan Aldhouse.
Do you have any questions? I do have a question, if you don't mind going back to the 3 lots. Is that providing access to Oleo to both lots? I want to say that's 1 and 2.
So, Gabrielle, I believe the access is already established north of Outlot, the one that says Outlot 2. So there's an access point already provided. And then to the right of Lot 2R that's on here is that existing access point. Can you go back to the map? Maybe that'll be easier. There's no new proposed access points.
Yeah, but in the vacation, and then in the vacation of it, and then they're splitting it, is that providing some sort of connection to, not connection, not necessarily a road connection, but does that have some sort of opening on, not opening, but like it has a right-of-way onto Oleo Road?
Like cross-access
Yeah.
easement? Kevin, do you mind speaking to that?
For the record, I'm Kevin Buckheit, a planner with the law firm Krieg DeVault. If you're talking about the jagged line that essentially comes down, then goes west and then extends further south and onto 104th Street, that is an existing access easement that is going to be vacated. The points of access that exist today are the only points of access that are going to continue to exist. That would be essentially to the right of Lot 2R as shown here, and then to the north edge of Outlot 2 as is shown on this map. Those are the only 2 points of access.
And everything that's going east-west, if you will, these are all easements? These
They're all
utility easements?
primarily utility easements, some access easements in there, and those all predate any development here and align with the old alignment of 104th Street.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't have any more questions on this. I will open it now for the public hearing for comments. Please, again, state your name and address for the record, make your comments, and we will answer those questions at the conclusion of the public hearing. Seeing that there are no comments, I will go ahead and close the public hearing. If we don't have any comments from the staff and board, I will now entertain a motion. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve vacation 24-6, the request to vacate Lot 2 of the Guy Shop subdivision before you today.
All right, do I hear a second? Second. We have both motion and second. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Hillary,
Yes.
Mr. Mackey,
Yes. Motion is passed. Now we'll go to item B. And this is the request to approve a primary plat of Lot 3, of 3 lots on 4.08 acres on the GBW and Fisher's property. The subject site is generally located near intersection of Oleo and 104th Street, common address of 10404 Oleo Road.
Good evening again. So this next item is related to the same parcel. So primary plat 24/7 is a request to replat the GBW Fishers subdivision into 3 lots. This property, again, is located near 104th Street in Oleo. The subject site is specifically located near the northeast corner of the intersection of Oleo and 104th. And the subject site is Zone C2, Neighborhood Business District, under the Unified Development Ordinance. Adjacent properties to the west and south are zoned R2, PUDM, Residential and School. Adjacent properties to the north are zoned C2, Commercial. Adjacent properties to the east are zoned R2 and R3. For this request, the applicant is requesting a primary plat so that the GBW Fisher subdivision can be replatted into 3 lots, 10404 Oleo Road, which is the southernmost parcel, will be split into 2 lots, lots 1 and 3, and then part of 10408 Oleo Road, roughly 0.25 acres. So that's Lot 2, which is at the top of the primary plat, is to be combined with Lot 3 so that the new lot can meet the minimum lot size requirements in the C2 zoning district. The new lot will be 1.01 acres. And then the minimum lot size requirement is 1 acre. The rest of Lot 2, the Geist Shop subdivision, will remain the same, which has now been vacated and transferred to the GBW Fishers. And the plat will include 3 lots, lots 1, 2, and 3, and will include no new right-of-way. This plat is in line with the objectives of the Fishers Unified Development Ordinance. This parcel is zoned C2 and aligns with the future land use plan. Staff recommends approval of plat PP 24/7 as it meets all local and state requirements. Please let staff know if you have any questions. And then Kevin is also available for any questions as well. Thank you.
Do we have any comments or questions on this item?
The only thing I wanted to mention again, I think Gabrielle covered it already, but the minimum lot size is 1 acre, and this new lot is 1.01 acres. So we're not creating any nonconformities. This new lot meets that standard. So thank you for mentioning that, Gabrielle. No further comments.
All right, seeing that there's no further comments or questions, I'll now entertain a motion. Do I hear a motion?
I will make a motion to approve primary plat 24-7, the GBW and Geist Shops as presented.
This, I don't think this.
There's
needs
no right-of-way, and it's 3 lots. It is a minor item.
I will second the motion. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Hillary,
Yes.
Mr. Mackey,
Yes. Motion is passed. Moving to item D is the request to approve a primary plat of 1 lot on 58.91 acres known as the St. John Vianney Catholic Church property. Site is located on the northeast corner of Southeast Parkway and East 126th Street with the address of 15176 Blessed Mother Boulevard.
All right, good evening. So this plat before you is primary plat 24-8, which is a request to combine 3 existing lots into 1 for St. John Vianney Catholic Church. So 15176 Blessed Mother Boulevard is roughly located northeast of Southeastern Parkway and East 126th Street. The property is generally located, as I said, on the northeast corner with a common address of 15176 Blessed Mother Boulevard. To the west and south, adjacent properties are zoned R2, PUDR residential for place of worship, single-family residential, and school. To the north and east, adjacent properties are zoned PUDM and PUDR under the Britton Falls PUD residential and Legacy at Hunters Run PUD residential. So the subject site is zoned PUDM under the Britton Falls PUD. The applicant is requesting to combine 3 existing lots into 1 so that the existing place of worship, St. John Vianney Catholic Church, can expand. The plat will include 1 lot with new right-of-way at the southeast corner, which is labeled Corridon Drive. The 3 subject parcels have been owned by the Roman Catholic Diocese of Lafayette, Indiana since 2002. This plat is in line with the objectives of the Fishers Unified Development Ordinance and aligns with the future land use plan. Staff recommends approval of primary plat 24-8 with the standard condition to record. A public hearing is required. And please let staff or Mike Walker know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Gabrielle, if you don't mind showing me that entire plat. I just want to make sure that that southeast corner includes the roadway and that parcel, that boundaries, the adjacent parcel is all city or public right-of-way?
So, Mike Wiley, Schneider Geomatics, 8901 Otis Avenue, Indianapolis, Indiana. Yes, the southeast corner of the drawing that you see, the bottom right, Corridon Drive, that whole regular shape is dedicated right away.
Okay.
Yeah, that was extensive conversations with the city and that Corridon Drive extension.
For some reason, that roadway on the left side doesn't match with that right-of-way, but maybe I'm looking at it
Yeah,
differently.
it actually continues to turn down the
Continues
south
down.
parcel also.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have any other questions. Do you?
I don't.
All right, we'll now open the public hearing. Please state your name and address for the record. We'll note the comments and questions, and we'll answer after the conclusion of the public hearing. Seeing that there are none, I will go ahead and close the public hearing. And now we'll entertain a motion. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve primary plat 24-8, which is the St. John Vianney Catholic Church, just with the condition that the Corridon Drive right-of-way is shown on the plat, which we believe it is, but confirmation of that. That's my motion.
All right. I will second the motion. Secretary, please roll call.
Mr. Hillary,
Yes.
Mr. Mackey,
Yes, and motion passes. On to item E. This is the request to approve a primary plat with 35 residential lots for the construction of Nickel Road townhomes.
Good evening, Kevin Martin with the city's planning department, presenting in front of you primary plat 24-9 for the future development of the Nickel Row townhomes. The subject site is located centrally within the city, within the Nickel Plate District, specifically located at 1144-5 Fishers Point Boulevard, just a couple blocks south of 116th Street and directly adjacent to the Nickel Plate Trail. The current property is approximately 6 acres in size and is currently improved with the Holy Family Episcopal Church, a place of worship use. The site is zoned Village Center, also within the Nickel Plate District Code. The Village Center zoning district encourages a mixture of residential uses, namely townhomes. The zoning will remain unchanged for this development, and also the surrounding zoning in the area is also Village Center to the north, R5 to the west and south, and then TCR, Town Center Residential over on the east side, on the other side of the trail. All of these zoning designations encourage more dense residential uses. The request today is to subdivide this existing church property, allocating 3.1 acres for the development of 35 townhomes. You can see the site layout and the proposed plat here. The development includes 20 units directly facing the Nickel Plate Trail with direct access from the trail. And it's also important to note that the proposed architecture and site plan design have been approved by the Nickel Plate Review Committee in their meeting back in August. This plat is in line with the objectives of the Fishers UDO and aligns with the future land use plan. Staff recommends approval of primary plat 24-9 as presented with the following conditions: that all TAC comments be addressed. There are still some outstanding comments that we're working with the applicant through. This is a public hearing, a public hearing is required, and with that, I'll conclude my presentation unless you have any questions for me.
Can you go back to the plat real quick? So the new, what looks like a road on there, is that a public road or is it a private road?
So all internal roads are to remain private for this development.
Kevin, is there any utility easements along the frontage of the Nickel Plate Trail that are shown in this plat?
So there is a Duke utility easement that is being shown. It's kind of hard to see, but we will ensure that it is properly shown on the plat.
Is there any other drainage easements from an adjacent property that goes into this property as well?
I don't believe so, but maybe the applicant representative can speak to that. Do you have any other questions for me? If not, we do have applicant representative here, Karen Collins, and ownership representation as well from Onyx and East.
Right. Karen, do you know if there is anything from the adjacent property?
Karen Collins with ANF Engineering. To the north, there is it's a drainage easement and an electric easement that stops at that north property line. So it's not considered a drainage easement the rest of the way, but it is, that is one and the same. So that dashed line that hits that more thick, two skip lines and then a longer line, that's the overall property. And so when you see that dash line, that's the easement stops, that drainage easement stops at that north property line. But then it continues, and then that's just the Duke utility easement that continues through.
There is an existing pipe that comes in from the north that does drain into that culvert that goes across the Nickel Plate Trail. Is that not in an easement?
From what we can tell, it's the drainage easement stops at the property line, but we are planning on picking up that pipe and then connecting it at a better straight shot to the outlet point, which is just south of that east-west, I guess, pedestrian sidewalk that goes to the Nickel Plate Trail at the very north end. That's roughly where that pipe, the end section is today, is south of there, and then it drains to the east across Nickel Plate Trail.
And is that Duke easement different than the trail Duke easement?
It is a transmission line easement. So I think it's one and the same. It's all with that same, as it goes up through there. And we have reached out to them, and they did not have any concerns with our plan as it is today.
Okay. All right, I don't have any other questions.
Kevin, did you say there was a presentation by the petitioner, or?
No.
Okay, got it.
Seeing that this is a public hearing, I'll now open it for the public hearing. Please state your name and address for the record, and we will address your questions at the conclusion of the public hearing.
Yeah, if you would like to speak, just
Yeah.
come up to the podium. Yep.
I apologize. I live in the community where these are going to be built.
I apologize. Name and address for the record, and then we
Okay,
can,
my
yeah.
name is Kathy Pardee. I live at 11460 Enclave Boulevard. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I do apologize. I have a hearing loss, and I've barely heard anything in this room. I'm sorry if I'm repeating.
Okay.
But I just wanted to come to the meeting and voice my kind of concern about this construction and its impact on the neighborhood, the traffic, and the environment, and the trail. It just seems like a lot of construction in a very small space. And I wondered how the construction of the townhomes, the provision of water, sewer, gas, and the traffic patterns, and how all that will affect the community. I just had some very big concerns, and I wanted to just voice my opinion and see what was being said.
Right. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Rick Fain, 11239 Boston Way, Fishers. I was having a little trouble hearing you when you were talking about the drainage and where that's going. And by the way, I'm sorry, I'm representing Fishers Point, Inc., which is the subdivision that is right around the area where we're being built. Am I allowed to ask her some questions?
You're allowed to ask the questions, and then they will address it at the end of the public hearing.
Okay, two questions. The drainage area, you got this retention area, looks like a dry detention area. When that is full, where's the water going? And also wanted some clarification on what she was saying about the drainage coming down from the north and then stopping around the church property area and then picking up again. Where is that going to specifically? I want some answers on that. Also, this being a public hearing, what are your rules on notification of the public in the adjacent areas? And the reason I'm asking that is because a couple of months ago, maybe about a month and a half ago, everybody in my neighborhood got a letter from the city announcing a meeting that was since canceled. Then this one happened. There was no letters sent out, no notifications, no signs posted. So very few people from my neighborhood, which is going to be most impacted by this, are here to voice their concerns. So I just was curious if I could find out the rules on that,
Thank you.
and that's all I had to say.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? If there's not, I will go ahead and close the public hearing, and if you don't mind, can we please address some of the questions and concerns of the public?
Sure. For drainage, there's a pond that's to the north of our property that's existing, and that from that pond, I don't know if we can look at a Google Earth, but from that pond, there's a 12-inch line storm drain that comes to the south that enters onto our property, and today it drains to the east across Nickel Plate Trail in a 24-inch pipe, a CMP pipe that goes under the trail. We're just perpetuating that flow as required by Indiana drainage law to drain that through our site. For our detention, for our site, we are taking the majority of our drainage to that dry detention basin that collects that water and then releases it slowly over a 24-hour period, basically a 100-year storm event that would drain into our pond. Then we release it at 0.2 or 0.1 and 0.3 CFS per acre. So we're reducing that flow. And then we drain it to the east into that same pipe that's the 24-inch pipe that goes across Nickel Plate Trail. So we're basically just taking that drainage, storing it in the dry detention basin, and then slowly releasing it over time at a smaller release rate than it is today. So
And is that just currently what is happening today, what you're doing?
That is currently what's happening today. We're just putting in a pond that will hold that water over a longer period of time and then release that same amount of water as it's being drained today.
Okay. And I think there was a question on that pipe that was coming. Where is that going?
So the pipe from the north is actually from the pond. There's an existing pond that's north of our site, and there's a 12-inch pipe that comes down and drains to the same location that our new pond is going to drain, which is that 24-inch CMP that goes under Nickel Plate Trail, and then it drains to the east.
So I guess the question of the gentleman, he wanted to know, is this improving the drainage, or is it not improving the drainage, or is it has more impact than currently the drainage is? I just want to make sure that it's understood.
It's improving the drainage that is there today. So the increased runoff from the additional hard surface areas, the roofs and the asphalt, that water is because of that increased, runoff, the speed in which it's happening. That's why we've put in that detention basin to slowly release that water over that period of time. So we're accommodating the flows based on the requirements.
Could you also address the construction of this project in that small area, along with the utilities and the impact of that to the areas? I think the question, if I remember it correctly, was how are you going to get utilities to that area, and then the increase in traffic if there is?
So at the corner of Brunswick Drive and Fishers Point Boulevard, that's where we're boring a water line across the street. So we're not open cutting, it's going to be a bore. So that's taking water to our site. And then there's not a sanitary sewer available on our site currently. So we are boring underneath, jack and boring underneath the nickel plate trail to discharge our sanitary sewer to the, I'm not sure exactly it's east of Fishers Point Boulevard in the Heritage Meadows parking, or that next intersection downstream. So we're tying into that sanitary sewer there. And gas, I believe, is on Fishers Point Boulevard and extending to our site. Storm, I think
the other question was the traffic.
And then it's only 35 units, so it's a low, there's not it's not a huge generator of additional traffic for the area with only having 35 units.
Kevin, did we have any public comments that came in on this?
I had a couple inquiries regarding the process itself, and then also, the cancellation of the meeting and the postponement of that meeting, some general concerns, but nothing specific to the plat itself.
Okay, and anyone who asked about the previous meeting, we let them know that it was rescheduled? Okay.
Right. And we had staff present that day, just in case anybody did show up, so that they were also informed that the meeting had been moved.
Okay. Rick, to your question about public hearing and noticing, I believe we've met all the standards in regards to the notice and letting residents know of the rescheduling. The sign should have been placed out there. I have an approval from our code enforcement, but I can follow up with the fact that that wasn't done. But if you communicated with anyone who came forward, I think that's helpful. Thank you. Karen, one last thing. I'm sorry, you're sitting down again. I apologize. In regards to traffic, because I think not necessarily the quantity, but can you talk a second about site clearance and residents that would be driving down Fishers Point or exiting this drive here, what you guys took into consideration? Looks like some of the units are, they go along Fishers Point, so it looks like it was intentional to make sure traffic could be seen at that exit point. Is that correct?
Well, so for building one, all of that building itself is 2 feet beyond is set back 2 feet. So that's what's required per the village center zoning. And so we have provided that. As people are coming down Fishers Point Boulevard to the southbound, they're going to be approaching the Nickel Plate Trail, which is that at-grade crossing. So there has been the sight distances looking from traffic coming at 20 miles per hour. We have provided for that sight distance so that person can turn left from the Nickel Row subdivision, or if they're coming in. So basically that intersection there at Fishers Point Boulevard is really going to be the main ingress, egress. The one that is connected to the parking lot for the church, it is really only for emergency vehicles. So there will be a gate there and not allow for traffic to cut through.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, seeing that there's no other comments, I think we would now time to entertain a motion. I would like to mention that there was comments provided by the city officials on this plat, so if we do approve with the caveat that all of these comments are addressed.
Yeah, and before I make a motion, this is an infill project, so a lot of the neighbors around here already exist. I think that's clear. We want to be conscious of those neighbors and how it affects the way of life that you guys are already are living. My intent, though, and from a planning perspective, I think this is a good project. We will make sure that we communicate with the neighbors adjacent and make sure that this project adheres to all of our schedules in regards to when they can do construction, timing, as well as sound. So we'll make sure that they comply with everything that we would require on any other construction project. They want to be good neighbors, I'm sure, adjacent to the new trail, the neighbors that exist. So with that, I make a motion to approve primary plat 24-9 Nickel Road Townhomes with the condition that all TAC comments are addressed.
I will second the motion. Secretary, please roll call.
Mr. Hillary,
Yes.
Mr. Mackey,
Yes, and the motion passes. Now, do we have any old business?
No business.
Do we have any new business?
No new business items.
Is there any staff communication?
No communications at this time.
All right, with that being said, do I have a motion for adjournment?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right. We are adjourned. Thank you.